They tip off their season tonight against the Orlando Magic. Do you want to hear Ime Udoka, how locked in he is already? Here is the head coach of the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I think it is. The energy has always been good. Competitiveness has been good, but excited to get on the road and play a real game now. So you can kind of feel it with the group, and we're all looking forward to it.
The energy's high, he said in a monotone with a million balls dribbling behind him. My favorite part about basketball interviews, they've never figured out that maybe we should do the interviews in a place where there's not a million balls bouncing around in the background. I don't know, not a bad idea to try to move around a corner and do it where you can't hear the thousands of balls that are dribbling all over the place. Whatever. I'm not an acoustics expert. I'm just more pro common sense. But I'm excited for the start of this Rockets season, Sean. I don't know where you are at, but here are all the best new things about 2023. It's the first season I've been excited about Rockets basketball since the Rockets brought Dwight Howard into the mix. I was a little excited about bringing in Chris Paul, but I had a bad feeling that eventually with him and James Harden, it would end. Hey, at the very least, the 2018 season did happen, and they were within a game of going on to the NBA Finals and potentially winning there. But the best things about this team, they have a real head coach in Ime Udoka. No offense to Steven Silas, he was a pushover. They have a real point guard in Fred VanVleet. All offense to Kevin Porter Jr., but Kevin Porter Jr. was not that, and Jalen Green is not that. Another perk, and this is entirely removed from the off-the-court stuff, no Kevin Porter Jr. Sorry, hated watching him. Just bad for team basketball. Number 4, best things about the Rockets going into 2023. At the very least, Dylan Brooks, for better or for worse, will be entertaining and often unintentionally hilarious. Like when he gave himself the moniker Dylan the Villain in a year where he has claimed the media is out to get him, in a year where he has also used his hands to, quote, defend, end quote, other players' nether regions, including the first 5 effing minutes of his Rockets debut in the preseason. Dylan the Villain. Media's out to get him. He's not out to get anybody's nads. Just the media's out to get him. I'm excited for the Dylan Brooks experience. I think it's going to be fun. And last, this is really what I'm most excited about. Jabari Smith Jr. I think this guy's the real deal. I think you saw it in spurts down the stretch last year. I think he's their best player. I think he's got the most potential. And I'm really excited to see what he does with a hard-ass coach on him. Note that I said that over Jalen Green. I'm hoping for some sort of progression from Jalen Green with Ime Udoka in charge, and also a bigger and more consistent role for Alperen Şengün. He's going to have to play defense, though, or he could very well be dealing with the same thing that he dealt with last year. So there you go, guys. That's what I'm excited about for the Rockets this season. Sean, any thoughts before we go to garbage time?
Yeah, they really flipped over this roster. If you're a longtime watcher of last year's Rockets team, which you probably aren't, but a lot of new faces. You mentioned Dylan the Villain. We mentioned Jock Landale, of course, the second biggest acquisition. Not Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet, real point guard on the team.
Didn't even mention Amon Thompson or Cam Whitmore, your two rookies?
Amon Thompson has looked good.
Really?
Basically, in Summer League and in preseason. Every time he's played basketball, he's looked good for the Rockets.
If he's looking good in the preseason, that is actually something to get excited about.
He'll start. I mean, he'll come off the bench this year, which is good. I feel like the Rockets are a little gun shy about giving a rookie point guard all the looks they can handle because of Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., like just what they came from, Kevin Porter Jr., what they came from. They're like, actually, let's have these guys kind of work their way through the rotation. And you mentioned it. Ime Udoka, also Jeff Green's on this team.
Jeff Green! Hell yeah!
Jeff Green, Reggie Bullock. Like, these are real NBA players are on this team. Like,
I know.
Like, gone are the days of Darius Days and Josh Christopher, Deshaun Nix, Frank Kaminsky, no longer on this team. Usman Garuba, R.I.P. Not R.I.P. He's just not on the team anymore.
You know what the best part, Sean?
Ty Washington, not on this team.
The best part of all those names that you mentioned is I have no idea who they were because I didn't pay attention last year. I felt like there was no reason to with Steven Silas. And it's no offense to those guys, but it is all due offense to those guys. Like those
Yes.
guys were not as good as people made them out to be, and the amount of people that were upset online about them no longer being a member of the Rockets was very sad.
Yeah, most of those guys got traded to either the Grizzlies or the Thunder and then got released. None of them are on the Grizzlies.
Right. I
or
mean, you
Thunder.
can bring them back eventually if you want.
Also, you mentioned something about Steven Silas being a pushover.
Yeah.
That to me, like, yes, he was that. That's not even the worst thing. He was also a bad X's and O's coach. Like, you're improving.
So what do you do here?
You're improving on both things. He was probably the worst X's and O's coach in the league, and now you're getting a pretty good one. I do think, though, that, guys, we're being optimistic. There is a hard ceiling on this team, given the rest of the West. There's about 11 teams that think they're going to make the playoffs in the West above the Rockets, and that you would give a better shot than the Rockets. Only 8 teams make the playoffs.
That's true.
10 of them make the play-in game.
But
So,
NBA Cup?
NBA Cup, tough group, but
Tough
on
group,
the
but they
table.
got it. They
on
got
the
it.
table.
Prediction: NBA Cup, Rockets, champs. Heard it here first. Not sarcastic or ironic at all.